couple weeks ago, I posted a video that ended with me going back into my marina slip, and a viewer left a comment thanking me for showing my docking technique. But of course, as I look back at it, it really wasn't that great of an example because, of course, there was somebody from the marina there to help me get into my slip, and typically that's not the case. And so, as I thought about it, I don't show my docking very often. I did do a two-part series a couple of years ago that talked about docking and different techniques you can use. But I went back through some footage and found what I think are probably some better examples of single-handed docking. So if I'm just coming into like a long, straight dock, then my preference is to have the wind blowing me against the dock, and that's because the wind will keep the bow against the dock instead of getting blown away when you get your stern line on. And so it's just a matter of timing and understanding your leeway, how much the wind is pushing you toward the dock. And so you have to time it so that the boat touches the dock just right at the right moment as it's being blown to the side by the wind. And typically I pick a spot that I want to try and land on, and I shoot for having the forwardmost fender be the first place that contacts the dock. And then I get the stern line and wrap it around the cleat. The momentum of the boat plus the wind pushes the bow against the dock, and then I step off with both lines in hand and tie off the boat. So that approach is pretty straightforward. So at my home marina, I typically take a long, straight-in approach, and that's because my boat does not turn to port very well when the wind is coming from the port side. I don't have that problem turning to starboard when the wind is on the other side, but on the port side, it just doesn't want to go. And also, my marina is only in 3.5 feet of water, and so my centerboard is up, so the boat doesn't track as well. And then, of course, on my starboard side, it starts getting very, very shallow. So I come straight in, and it just becomes a matter of controlling my momentum, and then once I'm in the slip, controlling the bow, keeping the bow from moving away from the dock. And so I take the motor down to idle, I drift into the slip, I have my boat hook, there's dock lines already on my finger dock, and so I grab those lines with the boat hook, and there's a loop on the end, and as long as I get that loop around the stern horn cleat, then that'll keep the boat from hitting the dock in front of me. So the bow won't strike that dock that's ahead of me. And so, if the wind is to your stern or from the starboard side, then that'll press you up against the dock. But in this case, the wind is coming from the port side, and so my bow is going away from the dock a little bit. So I give a little more thrust, and that additional thrust tightens the line and brings the bow back toward the finger dock and keeps the boat pressed up against the dock until I can secure my bow line. So I get my bow line secured, and that's typically how I bring my boat back into the slip. Alright, well, as always, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.